Hi everyone, welcome to our latest video. Absolutely delighted this afternoon to be able to present to you possibly one of the most stunning bikes that we've ever had the pleasure of having in stock, which those of you that are familiar with our business will realise that that's no mean feat, because we do like a nice bike. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with this little beauty, this is a Benelli TNT 1130 Sport Evo. Now that's one hell of a title for a bike, but I think you'll agree that's one hell of a bike to live up to that title. So this particular bike is a 2008 08 plate, and she's covered just over 1,700 miles from new. Absolutely stunning in every respect, both its condition and just its overall design. I have to say, I think this is possibly one of the, if not the best looking naked motorcycle that's ever been built. It really is. Quite frankly, the video and the photos don't do it justice. It is a bike that needs to be seen in the flesh. So basically the TNT 1130 is the naked incarnation of the Benelli Tornado. Now the Benelli Tornado was originally launched in 900cc form back in 2003, and I think it's fair to say, due to reliability issues and price, it was somewhat overlooked. But nonetheless, still a beautiful machine. And those of you that know your motorcycles will probably remember that the Tornado was familiar with its twin under-seat radiator cooling fans. And TNT basically stands for Tornado Naked Tray. So clearly it's a naked incarnation of the Tornado, and the tray represents the triple cylinder engine, as you can see from those three downpipes there. So I think to say that this is rare would be an understatement. Although these are still available brand new, because of the exotic nature of this bike, the retail price of a brand new one is just under £15,000. And whilst this might be a 2008 model, it actually remains largely unchanged today from its original design. And again, just to confirm, this bike's done 1,736 miles. So let's have a look at some of the spec and the design features. Possibly the most obvious design feature is these side mounted radiators. Possibly just make out the cooling fan through there. So we've got a radiator either side. I think the last side mounted radiator production bike was probably the Honda SP1 or SP2. But you'll see that each of those radiators with the shrouds gives it a really aggressive, almost transformer style front end, with plastic cowlings inside those, channeling the air through the radiators, and these really aggressive headlights. So side mounted radiators, and this beautiful steel tubular frame, which mounts to shall we say a more conventional alley box section frame and swing arm pivot. And again, that tubular theme runs down to the swing arm can see that eccentric mount there, or eccentric chain adjustment there. Quality of the materials and the welding is really something to behold actually. It's difficult to convey how beautiful this bike is. While we're down here we can do some close-ups, as you can see, and would expect of this mileage. Absolutely no marks whatsoever on any of the engine casings. Bodywork is unmarked. And as you can see, that huge section exhaust is still beautifully shiny. So spec wise, you can also see on the front we've got these huge 50mm Marzocchi forks, which I believe are the same forks that you'll find on an MV Agusta Brutale. So really stiff front end, one of the biggest diameter forks on a production bike I believe, and of course these Brembo radial mounted brake calipers. And again, even the machining of these fork stanchions are really quite something. We come around to the left hand side of the bike and towards the rear, you can also see that we're fitted with an Extreme Tech rear shock with adjustment. And again, if you can find a cleaner rear shock and swing arm assembly than this anywhere other than a new bike showroom, I'll be quite surprised. So despite the low mileage, she's also been fitted with a gold chain recently, DID gold chain, which just sets the bike off nicely. And again, you can see absolutely no marks on this wonderful rear swing arm. You probably already noticed, but we've got a number of nice carbon accessories as well. The most recent Keeper spent over £1,000 on carbon. You see we've got these little carbon covers for the exhaust carrier, carbon rear indicators, chain guard, hugger, heel guards, carbon fuse box cover, and possibly the most dramatic is these really lovely tank side panels which we've got either side, and this central tank cover as well. So we do have the pillion pegs, and we also have the standard mirrors. You may notice on this bike, purely for aesthetics, that she's fitted with a single rear view mirror on the right hand side. As I say, we have got the standard mirrors, and we've also got adjustable levers. It's an absolutely stonking bike to ride. Sounds lovely, and I think possibly one of the best jobs a manufacturer's ever made of fitting an under-seat exhaust and making it look quite as integrated and beautiful as that. You can see the tail lights sit astride it either side. And a really nice, clear, somewhat old-fashioned in some respects, but certainly you can't criticise the clarity of that instrument panel. with a nice big analog tacho, temperature gauge and LED display. So we're going to start her up for you in a moment, but firstly just a little bit about this 3-cylinder engine. As I say, it's 1130cc, 3 cylinders. This bike gives the impression, as you can see from the front there, gives the impression of being oil cooled because of the clever design of those side mounted radiators, but it also means that you've actually got quite a narrow front end, and basically there's just less drag there. But that engine, depending on which review you read, will be putting out somewhere around 135 brake horsepower, which normally equates to around about 118 to 120 at the back wheel. But more interestingly, I think 86 pound-foot of torque, which is actually more than the Ducati Street Fighter 1100 and also the MV Agusta Brutale 1090, which are probably the two closest competitors to this bike. Obviously both Italian, both exotic and both beautiful, but I think having sold MV Agusta Brutales and Ducati Street Fighters, I think I can honestly say that in a competition based on aesthetics alone, I think the Benelli would win. So we'll start her up for you. And I will just have to hold the clutch in for a second while I start the bike, so please excuse the camera just for one moment. See the mileage there, 1738. Now we've also got a TNT button. You can see that illuminates when it's out. And, despite what some people think that it's called a TNT because it blows up, on the contrary, the TNT button is basically a switchable engine mode. So with that light illuminated, that gives you the full works from the engine. Sporty and matte. And then basically we can press that back in and gives us just a slightly more civilised ride. Aggressive Italian sound. In fact, it sounds very much like an MV Agusta, one of the 4-cylinder MV Agusta engines. Quite a clattery sounding clutch basket, but that's how they are. It certainly sounds very mean. So there you have it. That's our Benelli Tornado 1130 TNT Sport Evo. She's a 2008 08 plate with just 1738 miles on the clock. Just serviced by ourselves, and this bike is available at 6995. I hope you enjoyed the video.